All right, we are picking up on the muscular system. Thank you for your patience. Finally got this computer going. I think I may have to move it out of the office that I'm in. Temperature wise, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Let's look at the muscular system. Again, we'll try to go over a few systems. Yes, for this particular assignment, it's simply the check-in questions. The accelerated course includes chapters that are referencing ideally the state board. Those particular chapters that we're going to have a lot of focus on, you'll see additional assignments to helping us study. But for these chapters that you won't really probably see a lot on, I really need you to know the background. If you're going to be working with clients, you'll probably only see the assignment of checking questions, okay? And the terms, as I stated before, the terms and the check-in questions are going to be the closest thing that you're going to have in reference to the questions you might see on the state board. So of course we're going to be reading, but also what is it? The slide presentation that summarizes each one. Thus should be our core focus of where we live each chapter that we review. As we look at the muscular system, our lesson objective number 6, describe the muscular system's components and supporting structures. How do we become successful completing this lesson objective? Again, terminology, okay? Describe. So we need to be able to talk about what the muscular system is, what does it do, who does it support. We talked about the organs yesterday, okay? And now we're moving on to the muscular system and also supporting structure. So all those components and the organ of the muscular system that has the most attention of all the organs other than the brain is going to be the heart. The heart is going to belong to the muscular system. It says the muscular system covers and holds the skeletal system in place. So we learn about the skeletal system because it gives frame, okay? We've learned about the different types of tissues, and then also we've learned about skin also being a major organ. So the muscular system attaches itself to the skeletal system, and from the skeletal system giving shape, now we have curvature, we have body movements. We're really becoming a being at this point. The muscular system covers and holds the skeletal system in place, okay? So those bones and things like that stays in place. Muscles are fibrous tissues that can stretch and contract according to body movements. When we talk about massage, we are massaging muscles. We're not massaging bone, okay? And when we talk about massage, we talk about contract, stretching and contracting. Where for a muscle to relax, it must tighten up and then it stretches out, okay? It must tighten up and then it stretches out. Tightening up sometimes does not feel comfortable because those muscles have not been moving and going in all these different places you're taking it. But the stretching out, that's where the muscles can relax. They can move. They can lay flat. They release tension and things of that nature. So as long as that muscle is tight, contracted, it's going to hold things in. Pain, stress, also it's going to be tight, and a person may think that it's foreign for to feel a little pain before the massage, but it's absolutely normal because we got to get those muscles out of the way. When we talk about the scope of practice within the beauty industry, estheticians, cosmetologists, you all can massage the head, the face, okay, the skeletal and the facial area. You can massage those areas. When it comes to estheticians, your massage on the facial muscles are going to be, they have to be top tier, all right, because it goes back into refigurative therapy. Many individuals who may have survived strokes and may have a little disfigurement, you're a part of that team that helps get those muscles back into place to do what they're supposed to do. You're a part of that team to rebuild that original muscle structure of the face. Okay. So definitely think about that. Yes, we have clients come in, but think about on the medical side. If you have a friend in medical billing and coding, or you know, operate on that side as well, you may be able to get some accounts where you'll be a part of the therapy sessions for clients who have facial disfigurement, right? The more I have seen and I've seen, the more that you massage, especially facial muscles, the more they relax. So whereas someone would come in kind of looking a little harsh, a little older by the face, the longer that you massage and tend to those muscles and relax them, you will see those muscles up be lifted. They will be lifted back up towards the bone. Okay. And as those muscles are lifted, reattached closer to the bone, you're going to see skin tighten. The skin will tighten up, and really it would give us more of a youthful look. All right. And there's this company, Emirates, and they always do a class called Hungarian Massage Certification. And so it's about a 2-hour class, but they specialize in massage, particularly Hungarian massage. So it's like a rough, not that rough, but it's a rough massage. And it's a long, extended time massage. 2 hours for your face, your back. And what else? In most states, you can't do the back, but it's a 2-hour massage, and it's mostly the shoulder, décolleté, and face. And I've seen a lady, when she got up, she looked totally different from the time that she laid down, because how her muscles had relaxed, contracted, lifted up closer to the bone. Her cheek area was higher. So she looked younger when she got up. Okay. In order for that to be maintained, they would have to get those type of massages continuously. Also, those type of massages in the facial area are usually accompanied by products that say rejuvenating, tightening, less wrinkles. It prevents sagging. So yeah, you will see for a period of time that a person will look younger. They like to do the neck area, the décolleté area as well, because a lot of women see age first in the neck and chest, the neck and chest area. And so you'll see a lot of massage and product application in those particular areas because they want to look younger. So that's the muscular system. When you look at a technical term for the study of the structures, the functions, so we know what the muscular system is, but myology is our technical term for the study of the muscular system. So we need to study the benefits, the functions, the diseases, all of that is under myology. Okay. Anytime you see a number, to me, go ahead and highlight those numbers, because you're going to see that number again. It's at 650 muscles in the body and 3 types of muscles. So we have about more than 650 muscles in the body and 3 types of muscles. Let's look at these 3 types of muscles, which are very, very important. We just have to keep this in mind. Our cardiac muscle is the heart, period. Okay, that's the heart. It's the only muscle of its kind. It's in the heart. All right. Involuntary muscles are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. So the brain controls these muscles. Okay. They control body functions such as breathing and digestion. So involuntary means that you don't have to do any work. You don't have to give nothing permission. It does it on its own. And if some of us were forgetful, we'll forget how to breathe. We'll forget we got to breathe, and we'll forget we have to digest food. So we have involuntary muscles, okay, non-striatic. They are controlled by the nervous system. All right. They control breathing and digestion. And then we have voluntary muscles. These muscles move at will. So we have the decision to move the muscles whenever we get ready. I am so glad God gave the brain the reasoning to do involuntary muscles, because I can forget something. I'm the queen of can forget something, and we can't put ourselves out like that. Okay, so it's three types of muscles: cardiac, the only one in the body, that's the heart; involuntary muscles, non-striatic, controlled by the brain; breathing and digestion, that's the myology of that; and then voluntary muscles. These are striatic muscles, and these are muscles we control. Okay, so a lot of times in exercise, we're controlling those muscles. Right. Let's look at the three parts of muscles, which you will probably see on a state board exam. It's been around forever. This is just the basics. So please make sure that you understand that the muscle has three parts, especially the ones we're able to touch, we're able to service within our scope of practice. The muscle has three parts: the belly, the origin, and the insertion. Let's look really carefully where they are. The belly is the middle part of the muscle. The origin is the part of the muscle that does not move and is anchored to the bone, stuck to the bone, okay? Attached closest to the skeleton. And then you have insertion. It's the movable part of the muscle anchored to the bone, attached furthest from the bone. Our ultimate job is to continue to move the insertion and belly up to the origin. Okay. Over a period of time, naturally, our skin will begin to lose elasticity. That means lose its tightness. Okay. Naturally, it happens. We want facials and products and masks and LED lights. All of that does the job of trying to maintain their youthfulness and keep our skin tighter. Well, what we didn't mention was in massage, in facial massage, it has something to do with keeping our skin um, youthful as well, but also just keep not skin youthful, keeping our skin, our muscles, all of the functions in great working order, no matter how old we get. All right. So when you are massaging your client, you should be going from the bottom. Once you locate the muscle, you should be going from the bottom of the muscle up. This is why, if you've ever heard anyone say, when you're doing a facial, always go up, or facial massage, always go up, never go down. Whenever you are going down, that means that your hands are at this origin. If this muscle is already attached to the bone as close as it can get, when you go down, you're dragging and pulling this muscle down. When the muscle is pulled down from the bone, age can literally set in, because now we see more of the bone structure and we don't see the curviness of the muscle. So the muscle starts to also lose its strength. It gets nourishment from the bones and the nerves that are in those particular areas. You're pulling it away from the place that nourishes it. Your muscle's gonna be weak. So we need to make sure we're not pulling muscles away, and we are really starting to massage from the bottom up. I don't care if you're massaging somebody's calf. You take your thumbs from the bottom and you push up. Okay. And a lot of times you go in a round circular motion. So just like you see belly is for on my side is closer to the left. I would go insertion. My thumb would literally go up and round until I get to the origin. Okay. Up, round, and until I get to the origin. All right. You do never want to go origin down, because if the muscle is fixed to the bone, it could cause pain for the client, because it's fixed, it's anchored. Why are we moving it? Okay, that's what your client is saying. What's going on? Why are we moving? And they're gonna feel pain. So you go from the part that's not as attached, it's furthest from the bone. That's the insertion, and you will go like around or straight up. Okay, and when you do that, you're also getting what I say, what I want to say. It's like you're also getting cramps. You're able to get cramps, able to get things that contract, whatever's keeping that muscle tight in the middle. You're able to relax those muscles. And let me tell you, stress can live in those areas too. If you don't want to use your hands for aesthetics, the alternative to using your hands, we use heat. Please make note. The alternative to stimulating the muscles, if you're not using your hands, you use heat. When we cut the steamer on, the steamer is relaxing the muscles. It relaxes the skin, it relaxes the pores, and it's relaxing the muscles. Heat is a form of massage. Okay. For the scope of practice in Tennessee for estheticians, you are not allowed to book massage services for the full body. Your areas that you can work is the feet, the hands, arms up to the elbow, okay? The skull area, the scalp, the facial area, okay? Neck and décolleté. Décolleté is going to be where like your cleavage and breastbone is, that open area, that's your décolleté. It's French. And in reality, your facial should go from your décolleté, your breastbone broad area, all the way up to the top of your head. This is how we maintain full, even color when performing a service. But that's how it should be stimulated. Many estheticians confuse a service called back treatment. It's a back treatment. They confuse the service and think that they can do massages on the back. You absolutely cannot. Yes, the back has a long triangular muscle, okay? And it covers a large area. Many individuals like to have their back relaxed, but the back facial is simply a facial for the back. We are not allowed to do massages. So what estheticians would do, what I always advise and tell them to do, is to get some hot stones. You can use steamer, hot towel, but I love hot stones. You buy them off of Amazon. The hot stones are heated in a box or a crock pot, whatever you want to do. The darker the stone, like rocks, the darker the stone, the more heat it holds. The lighter the stone, the more coolness that it holds. So you want to have black stones and smooth stones, and they will hold all the heat. Where really in the back facial, if you want to relax the muscles and your client has something going on with the back and you have to do only what you could do, you would not do a back massage where you would take that stone out, test it, make sure it doesn't burn you so it doesn't burn the client. But once it's good to go, you would take that black stone and put it directly on top of the muscles. So the shoulder blades, I would put a hot stone on each shoulder blade. And then also I would put a hot stone right where my grandma would say britches, at the base of the back, right above the buttocks, okay? Because that's a tendon there that holds a lot of stress. So I put a hot stone right there, and that hot stone would help alleviate stress. It'll, get muscle cramps and things like that out, and you just let it sit there. You can put a hot towel over it, and you can change your stone. Just letting that stone sit, the heat is pulled in from the skin, and then the heat penetrates into the muscle. Once the heat penetrates into the muscle, it goes throughout the muscle and starts to relax the muscle. So it gives you a feeling of relaxation, your muscle strain, stress starts to diminish, and you still get to cater to your clients. And we want our clients literally to feel amazing, falling asleep, whatever they want to do. And that is an experience for them, and they will return because of the experience they have. But that's with the muscle. We cannot massage the back. We cannot book anything that says body massage. That is for masseuse. Okay. So, but our form of catering to the muscles would be steam. It would be hot towels from the towel cabinet, and it would be hot stones. And right here, it tells you that muscle tissue can be stimulated through massage, electric current therapy. That's your high frequency ones, your LED, anything related to red light, anything related, you hear anything about any kind of lights that's using electricity to stimulate muscles. There you go. Infrared light, red, blue, yellow, dry heat. So heating lamps, if you just sit under the heating lamp. Um, and sometimes people say when they're going to get tans, it is a form of massage also. Yes, because of heat. We can perform the look-alike of massage through heat. Okay. More steamers, nerve impulses, and you may have seen them put these patches on and they can go low, medium, high. And then chemicals. Okay. Chemical acid pills, chemical pills, they generate heat. They are considered a form of massage. It stimulates the muscle. Okay. You don't want to have this burning sensation, but it definitely stimulates the muscles. Looking at the muscles of the scalp and neck. Most important for us because on this aesthetic side, we're going to be touching the face, touching the neck. My thing has always been whatever you're touching, know that there's a cause and effect. So even if you don't see any test questions from anatomy physiology, I still need you to understand what you're doing. And understanding what you're doing and what you're touching just helps serve the client so much better. Okay. It builds your knowledge base as well. So let's look at the muscles of the scalp and neck. As I told you yesterday, you would see some bones, but do know the bones that you see have almost identical muscles, just changing the end of it. Okay. So mostly we have talus and Uranus on the ends of those terms. All right. Let's look really, really deep. Let's start with epicranius. Oh, let's start with frontalis. Think of a frontal lace wig. That's what I tell the students. Think of a frontal lace wig. You have a frontal bone, and then you have a frontalis muscle. Okay. We're talking about the forehead. It raises the eyebrows, draws the scalp forward, and causes wrinkles across the forehead. So a lot of times when individuals are giving expressions and you see something going on across the forehead, they may say, are you serious? They're using their frontalis muscle. So they're raising the brows, draws the scalp forward, and causes wrinkles across the forehead. Epicranius, broad muscle that covers the top of the skull and consists of the occipitalis and frontalis. So here's the thing. The frontalis is the front. Okay. It's the front. It's the front. It's the front. It's the front. Okay. It's the front part of the skull. And then you have occipitalis over here. That's the back of the skull, that muscle. Okay. These two muscles are joined together by the epicranius. All right. It's a muscle that connects to the frontalis and a muscle that connects to the occipitalis, creating what we call a scalp. Okay. Creating what we call the scalp is connecting the two together. So nerves are running back and forth and the muscles are connected by the epicranius. This is also called occipitalis, occipitofrontalis. I know. Frontalis muscle, forehead, occipitalis, the back of the head. Put these two together. They're called occipitofrontalis. All right. These are the muscles that help make up the scalp. Okay. Epicranius, aponeurosus. It's a tendon, very small tendon that connects occipitalis and frontalis. So a lot of times that tendon is found at the top of the head. If you've seen women that have like shedding or hair loss at the top of the head, a lot of times it's not alopecia, okay? Unless there's some definite cases of alopecia. You'll learn about that in hair removal. A lot of times it's what we call on the natural a stress area, okay? when you have a headache or when you have a lot of stress, when people literally say, get on my nerves, literally there's pressure on the nerves. Literally there's pressure on the muscles, okay? Um, and when they say something is nervous breakdown, they're saying that tendon or that nerve could not handle the pressure, okay? As women, we have to be very, very careful that we do not overextend the pressure on our nerves and on our muscles. Okay. Here's the thing: if you see hair loss, if you see thinning in the top of the head, a lot of times I would go with questions like, "What's going on?" Once I've realized that alopecia is out of it, it's not alopecia. I'm gonna ask what is going on, because a lot of times, number one, that tendon that connects the front and the back could just have a lot of pressure. When it has a lot of pressure, it also has that pressure, but you can't get blood to that area. The blood holds the nutrients. So a lot of times when you're seeing hair loss or shedding or thinning in a lot of areas, you may need to get to that scalp and start massaging. Because every time you massage, you're starting to circulate blood back into that area. Okay. Once blood is circulated back into that area, those follicles will now start to feed. It'll start pulling nourishments into the follicle. Okay. And your hair will start to feed off of that nourishment. And then your hair continues to grow or fill back in. So we have to be very, very careful. Although hey, we notice this from clients. We're not doctors. We say, hey, this is what I think is going on. I want you to get with a hairdresser. I want you to get with a trichologist. When it comes to hair, I don't try to seek out dermatologists because they don't deal with hair. But people think that's the closest doctor. So, but there's a doctor of hair. There's a trichologist. I try to seek out trichologists or hair loss experts to help us in the client growing back hair in this particular area. So we cannot put stress on this little bitty tendon. And a lot of times that tendon is holding a lot in. Okay. The nerves in that area could be holding a lot in. This is why you should be doing a brushing every night, because every time you brush that, put the bristles across the scalp, it is stimulating blood flow, it's stimulating movement, it's getting the blood to areas that it's not going. You should be having scalp massage sessions. Teach clients how to take a few minutes at night before they go to bed and just massage your scalp. That's going to relax them, but it also is going to increase the blood flow, because when we sleep, that's really when our body starts to rebuild and replace itself. So if you get the blood flowing before you lay down, okay, now your body is starting to rebuild and replace itself. Blood is circulating. You have follicles, you have the blood things. Everybody is feeding off of this good stuff in the blood. All right. And the nourishment is pulled out, and you'll start to see skin improve, hair grow. The occipitalis draws the scalp back, of course, draws the scalp back. And sternocleidomastoides. This particular muscle is on the side of the neck. You can find it, place your 2 fingers behind your ear and 2 fingers by your earlobe where your earring would be, but put it behind the ear. And then you would just trace it all the way down to your collarbone. This goes in an angle. So 2 fingers behind your ear and trace that muscle all the way down to the collarbone. All right. We should be stretching or doing stretches to really stimulate this muscle, which means when a client comes to you, before you even start, you may take their head and you may press it over to the left. Press it over to the right. You may do that 3 to 4 times. But what's happening, and you may hold it for a couple of seconds, what's happening, because we don't wrap our hands around our necks and do massages, because we could choke, we could lose oxygen to the brain. Well, the stretching of it just kind of helps take cramps and tension out of the neck. This is especially for individuals that sleep wrong, individuals that have a lot of just weight on them. We have nerves, and it's just a core space for nerves and muscles. So we want to remove stress from those particular areas. Just stretch, okay? This muscle allows the head to rotate. So it allows us to bow our head and we rotate our head. So if someone calls us on the left and we turn our head, bam, we're using the muscle, okay? And so it goes from the back of the ear to the clavicle, okay? Platysma, it's a broad muscle extending from the pectoral and deltoid area. So we're looking at a muscle like breast muscle and shoulder muscle that connects in the neck, okay? Under the chin. So you can say your chin, your neck, that wide muscle connects to the breastplate, the breast area, and also across the shoulders. Okay. It helps lower the jaw and lip. That's a big old muscle. And it lowers the jaw and it lowers the lip. Okay. So those are the scalp and neck muscles. If we're going to be working, and one of the key things in products and skincare and Cosmo as well, many individuals are using peptides in products and in skincare. So they're going more scientific. These products, cosmetics and ingredients have more penetrating power. So they're going to connect. So you're going to see these products penetrate more into the skin, and really you need an understanding of ANP and skin structures to even be able to educate your clients about it. So which is one reason I definitely wanted to go over this chapter. Muscles of the face, nose, and mouth. All of these muscle causes a facial expression or causes something to move on the face, okay? A couple of them I'm going to review. The curator right here. This muscle is located above the eyebrow, okay? It causes the forehead to wrinkle, all right? So a lot of times when we're starting out with our facial, I will just take my finger and press that area. Press, hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lift up. Go back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I'm removing stress from that area. I've had to literally do that for myself this week, still under doctor's care, but just having the pressure and stress in the head. Sometimes you got to go back to what you know, which is literally stimulating your muscles and putting pressure on certain pressure points and muscles to relieve the tension when medication is not working. Okay, so this here is the curator. This is where we press. It reduces vertical wrinkles on the forehead. Okay. Also temporalis, okay, or temporal nerve, temporal muscles. Think about it. You're going to have all of that in the same area, located near the temple, and opens and closes the jaw. So this temporal muscle that's way up here above the ear is going to help us in chewing, help us in eating, help us in talking. Okay, so a lot of times when we have issues in one area, does not mean it begins there. Okay, so the temporal muscle, temporalis muscle, helps us in moving, opening, and closing the jaw. Okay, zygomaticus minor, muscle that works with the zygomaticus major to make facial expressions. The zygomaticus muscle is your cheekbone, your cheek. So you got zygomatic bone, that's the cheekbone, and then you got zygomaticus muscles. They are connected to the cheekbone. It gives you your curvature of the face. When you get older, as you get older, the fatty tissue and this muscle in this cheek area will start to diminish and go down. So this is why, again, we make sure that we always massage up, because it's going to keep the youthfulness in the face. And a lot of times, as I mentioned a couple of days earlier this week, you have to make sure that if someone is going to go surgery, advanced procedures like fillers and facelifts and things like that, first they have to understand the muscles, they have to understand the bones and things of that nature. If you do plan on going med spa, this is a big part of med spa. So before you even get into technique, it is you understanding what's going the anatomy and physiology, histology of the face, okay, or whatever your scope of practice is. So huge, huge. If you're going to be doing injections and things like that, you got to know these muscles. You got to know everything about it. Okay. Orbicularis oris, muscle that circles the mouth and contracts puckers. So it gives you want to blow a kiss and it wrinkles the lips. Okay. You'll find that they add fillers or adipose fat into the lips. That is a popular thing now. Okay. But here's the thing, once you do that, you have to keep doing it to keep it up. All right. Buccinator, okay, which is on the side, muscle of the cheek between the upper and lower jaw. Okay. This is where we begin to whistle and blow kisses with this particular muscle. Maxilla is always going to be associated with eating, moving, and structure of the jaw. Okay. And then the orbicularis oculi, I have to even teach my Lash people this. Ring muscle of the eye socket that closes the eyelids and assists in pumping tears. Okay, closes the eyelids and assists in pumping tears. So that's the orbicularis oculi. Looking at shoulder and arm muscles, of course, the trapezius is that muscle of the back. It's the largest muscle of the back. It covers the entire span of the back. Then you have your deltoid that comes across the shoulder, your bicep, okay? It's mostly what we use to bring muscles together. Your supinator and flexor are in your lower arms. They help open and close your hand, okay? Your tricep, which is a small tendon muscle located on the forearm, um, and it helps with extending, stretching your arm out and bringing it in. Extensor, stretching your arm, your fingers, open the palm, and brings it in. Okay, muscles of the hand, which abductors and adductors, opening and closing of those muscles. And then in your palm muscle is called the opponents. Okay, we will deal with this as well, simply because we use our hands. So we do little exercises to get our hands prepared for the service. But also at the same time, we do something reflexology. We can do reflexology under our scope of practice. And so learning the muscles of the feet, learning the muscles of the hands, the ear, the facial area, the skeletal area are so beneficial because we can lead this into our nervous system. So as we learn the nerves or motor points in these areas, we can really kind of fix ourselves. If there's something going on with the liver, you can literally find the liver on the bottom of the feet and start applying pressure, and it will send a signal to a point connected to the liver. So, and a lot of times in your digestive area, doing that would cause things to reboot back up, and most issues that you would have will probably be very minimized. Again, we are not doctors, but it comes under our scope of practice for us to learn. So we educate our clients, but we do refer them to a physician. Lower leg and foot muscles, okay? Since we can do paraffin dip and we could do massage of the feet, we can do reflexology of the feet, we need to know about these additional muscles as well because we have clients that come in with different things. So from extensors to soleus, we know the tibia, the tibia bone, and then you have the tipitalis anterior to front muscle of that bone, and then there's the back muscle of that bone. Just kind of staying connected and learning about it. The nervous system, of course, is well-organized body system. It's the king of the kings, okay? Controls and coordinates all the other body systems. And neurology is the study of the structure, function, pathology of the nervous system. So we have neurology, and then we have the nervous system, okay? So the nervous system is divided into 3 systems, right? One system, autonomic nervous system, ANS, okay? It regulates the action of the smooth muscles, the glands, the blood vessels, the heart, and the breathing. So this particular nervous system, mainly found in the core, in our spinal column area, we don't control that, okay? The PNS, system of the nerves, connecting our outer parts of the body to the central nervous system. These are sensory nerves, motor nerves. Will we smell? Will we touch? How do we recognize these impulses? Okay, that's on the outer edge of the body. So we have the inner senses, and then we have the outer senses. Then you have the central nervous system, CNS. Okay, breathing, moving, laughter, continual senses, how we laugh, how we write, how we observe, how we remember. This is our learning capacity, okay? Controls voluntary muscles, actions, and consists of the brain, spinal cord, and spinal nerves. And let me tell you that brain, and the base of that brain, you're going to have that those pairs of nerves that's going to flow from the base of the brain, go back up and down, and they're going to be all over the body, as you can see. So there's nerve impulses all over the body, okay? And when you think about things to calm you or relax you, it's initially what it's doing. It's initially first starting to calm and relax the nervous system, all right? So once the nervous system is relaxed, you won't see anxiety, you won't see anything hyperness. It'll just be a relaxed body. And then from there, the nervous system is relaxed. Then you go into releasing tension from the muscles. We'll look at the brain and spinal cord. I'm actually just going to bookmark this particular area. Let's learn the difference between the brain and the spinal cord. There's none other like the brain. None other like it. Controls all the body functions, okay? This is why most of the time they want to do head scans and things of that nature, just to find out what's going on. And of course, the spinal cord. What I don't do is in a back treatment, I don't touch the spinal cord. So we have to make sure people are educated. You are not to massage the back anyway, but you're definitely not thinking you're doing something by massaging the spinal area. You really could shift and mess something up, okay, from the back to the neck. So that is a no-no. We don't touch because we're not doctors, okay? And what we may actually do could be very detrimental to our clients. I don't even put individuals, sometimes we use crystals and things like that. I don't operate in that. So you have some individuals that would use that to channel energy. It is too dangerous. I don't do it. I don't need my hot stones. It's going to be on top of the wider parts of the muscle and bone. So I don't touch anything related in the spinal cord area. If that heat is not breaking it down and massaging, you need to go see a chiropractor. Okay. That spinal cord controls too much muscles, organs, skin, impulses. It works hands in hand with the brain. And you have different nerves that are coming out of that spinal column. So it's too much for us to just guesstimate and play down. So we don't even touch it at all. And when you see individuals doing that and they're under the aesthetic scope, they are working outside of their license. They're not supposed to be doing it. Okay. When we look at nerves, dendrites, nucleus, cell body, axon. Each nerve ending a point have these components, okay? It gives you shock. Hey, I feel that. That was that was that was hot. That was cold. That hurt. And so those branches, those nerve points are throughout the entire body. As we move to circulatory system, I just want to talk about the main organ. We are talking about the blood. It's good for you to have an understanding of blood pressure, but also we're talking about the heart and the lungs. Okay, so now we've raised two more things, but the blood is going to be very, very important because it's going to go through every organ. It's going to carry nourishment to every organ, and it's going to carry nourishment to every system. Now, what we don't talk about is when the systems are ill, okay, and blood has to go through, the system can spread whatever's going on with that organ into the blood. So in general, the blood can be, can pick up a disease and it'll take it to other parts of the body. So you want to make sure everything is a-okay. Sepsis, things of that nature. I've had to deal with it with parents. That the circulatory system is very, very important. It's a carrier of healing with antibiotics, nourishment from your food, but also it just knows to carry. So it can pick up something bad and it still continues to carry. And if it picks up something bad and it carries to every organ, every system, you can see the body start to be affected. Okay? You can see the body really become affected. All right, just looking at two aspects of the heart. Of course, only muscle of its kind, okay? And the circulatory system allows the blood to move in and throughout. You have the pulmonary circulation, then your systemic circulation, all right? So some make the heart pump, and then we have system-wise into the body, okay? It takes in the good, pushes out the bad. The heart is severely connected to kidneys, liver, lungs. This is why you may see individuals with kidney issues eventually have a heart issue. Um, for me, a family member had a kidney issue. It damaged the heart, and the heart started to damage the lungs. Okay. Um, and it just becomes a connection barrier. So we got to make sure we take care of ourselves. We're not physicians, so we do, when we hear our clients talk about different things, we should learn who's our resources. So we could literally bring in nutritionists, so we could refer them to other physicians and things of that nature. Yeah, as we look at blood vessels, we have different type of blood vessels, aorta, arteries, capillaries, veins, things of that nature. Not a big emphasis on learning about all of them, but if your clients have high blood pressure, yes, you should be. If your clients have a lot of illnesses, yes, you should be learning about high blood pressure because it's the amount of blood that is pumped through these veins. Okay. With the aorta, you're talking about it's the largest artery in the body, but it can be damaged from heart issue, kidney failure, different diseases in the body can literally tear this up. Okay. And so it's good to have those conversations with clients. You also, if they're taking medications for any diseases, body organs that's been affected, the medications are going to cause an effect. It's a cause and effect. Definitely taking the medications they needed, but it's going to be a cause. There's something that's going to happen to the hair, skin, and nails. So you have to have a great understanding of what they're taking, for what area, and then you have to figure out a treatment plan to prevent the hair, skin, and nails from going into a bad state. Talking about the blood and my absolute favorite, I'm bookmarking. Okay. Um, with the blood, all right, of course, we know it travels, but it carries water, oxygen, and food. That's your nourishment. In order for cells to grow into tissues and tissues to grow into organs, we got to have something to feed off of. All right. And so we want to make sure we eat good, we're putting good things in our body so we can produce. Okay. We can have a healthy body. Even if you eat whatever, it is still going to produce. It just may not be as healthy. Okay. So when our clients come in and we have snacks and things like that prepared, try going on the healthier end. Um, and then just having maybe a moment of education for our clients about getting the blood circulating. Okay. Once they're getting the blood circulating, and you can do that in massaging your scope of practice. It's going to increase hair growth. The skin is going to look younger. All of that good stuff. Okay. Looking at head, face, and neck arteries. This is one reason why we do not massage the neck. Okay. Um, I like to use hot stones or hot towels on the neck area to relax those muscles. All right. Because you have this artery and veins and things like this here. We could cut off oxygen. We could definitely cut off connection, blood flow to the brain, and we don't want to do that. And as we always talk about, as far as the vein, the jugular veins, direct, you see that? If you squeeze the neck, direct disconnection. Okay. So to the face, everything. So you need to make very, very careful decisions when you are deciding that you're going to operate and do massages. The lymphatic system eliminates waste. You could take it from the face and it goes down the neck. A lot of people will also take it from, you would elevate your legs. So if your legs are swollen, pushes it up. It mostly would go into the kidney areas and urinate it out. Okay, just need some help to be pushed in those areas. So you see individuals swollen, and it really holds toxins if it's in so long. So you got to get your lymphatic system together because it's going to help in healing. Okay, it's going to help keep your immune system up. It removes waste material from the body cells of the blood. So we need our lymphatic system in play. One of my favorite systems, integumentary system. We're talking about hair, skin, and nails. Okay. It is the last system on the shelf. Okay. It's the last system on the shelf simply because our body says, hey, our brain needs this. Our stomach and intestines need this. Our heart, our lungs need this. Okay. And so the integumentary system and gumentary system is what we want to call that this is what we need to deal with mostly on the outer end. And if they can continue salon business, they can continue spa business and have great upkeep while your body is keeping one thing in place, we are keeping the other thing in place. Okay. Although whatever's going on with the body, we see a sign of it in our hair, skin, and nails. So whatever's going on with the hair, you're seeing it dries, looking choppy, like what's going on? That same thing you'll see in the skin. Now the skin becomes dry. You'll see in the nails are breaking. So it is a telltale sign. So although you may specialize in skin, you need to also look at a person's hair. You can also look at their nails because it's going to be a telltale on the client. Okay, client can tell you whatever they want, but you need to trust your eyes, trust what you trust what you smell, and it all is going to pay off for you in the end. Knowing this component here will help you not diagnose, but help you build treatment plans for every client. Okay, you got to know how the skin works. You got to know how these layers work, where the blood flow is. Many individuals have problems with hyperpigmentation, dark spots, uneven skin tone. Okay, they have problems with that. All right, and with them having problems with that, you just don't go buy product and put it on top of the skin. Some stuff you need to drive down into particular areas in order for it to be effective. Now, when you have a hair follicle, these are hair follicles, a hair itself. This is the follicle, the house of the hair root underneath. Every strand of hair you see, just check it out today. Every strand of hair you see, you need to know that underneath there's an oil gland connected to it. There's sweat glands connected to it. Okay, hair root is connected to it. It is so much stuff connected to this hair root area, feeding area for the skin, and its attachment to is to every hair that you see. Okay, so sometimes when a person is sweating a lot, the sweating issue can be treated through this particular area here, electrolysis. And electrolysis, we need to go back and consult the health department, go through a certification. You don't even go through the board anymore. Just go through the health department for a certification. And now you're able to become an electrolysis check for each state. Um, and electrolysis will deal with electricity, but it is a needle that goes down into the follicle that will retard those things that are over processed, that are over activated, whether it's hair, whether it's oil glands, or whether it's sweat in those particular areas. So really, really good. With our endocrine glands and endocrine and reproductive. Endocrine, yesterday I talked a lot about the hormones. Okay, so we have endocrine glands and exocrine glands, and the exocrine glands are gut glands. Okay, this is our oil and sweat glands. All right, oil and sweat glands, yes, affected by our hormones. Okay, so birth control of any form can affect our oil glands and sweat glands, how much we produce oil and how much we sweat. Endocrine glands, known as ductless glands, are thyroid, adrenal glands. Okay, they release hormones directly into the bloodstream. Right, so we have a lot going on as women, but also this is the same for men as well. So, and there are certain points in life that these glands may increase or decrease. This is what we call perimenopause and menopause. Okay. Also, in certain levels of stress, going through certain diseases, cancers, things of that nature, these endocrine and exocrine, they come off the scale. All right. So it's a lot, not just, and it's a lot if you're surviving cancer and your body has to get back to the way it was, and you'll go through just different bouts with, I just need my hormones back. I just need my hormones back. I need them stable. And so that's what a lot of people are thankful for survival. But we, with the irritating, well, I would say it's no irritation. We just want to get our hormones back in place because it goes through so much when you have treatment for those diseases. Okay, yes, what's connected, all of this connected, your ovaries, reproductive organs, adrenal glands, we want that highly stimulated as well. Um, and we'll talk more about the endocrine glands because it's simply hormone. Okay, and there are a lot of, we talked yesterday about PCOS, now PMOS, issues that deal with reproductive system, um, ovaries, cysts, all of those are affected by in this endocrine um, system. Also, when we look at with endocrine glands, when we look at birth control, this is the key area other than reproductive system. This is the key area that we'll find some issues. And so I seen a lady have to go to Canada to get the birth control. It's like the little thing they put in to prevent birth control, and she's only supposed to have it in 3 years. It's been 7 years, and they couldn't find it, and didn't nobody want to do it here in the United States, so she had to fly to Canada, and they told her like $100 to take it out, and she was like, I don't know what it would have cost here, but nobody wanted to do it, but they did it in Canada. So it becomes a big, big issue when we're ready to have children. and just other things that's going on with our body. So hormones is something we're always going to talk about because if our clients are going to be majority women, based on what's going on in their body and what they're telling us, we'll be able to determine how well they will be affected by the skincare regimen we're doing, or whether certain regimens are proper for us to do right now. It may be a waiting period. So we call it the consultation and hair, skin, and scalp analysis. But when we get into those conversations and learn what's really going on the other side, that's when your client trusts you, you're building a rapport. Then we can determine what we're going to do. So I definitely wanted you to just check out the terms for this chapter. Okay. And also, we're going to move a little bit into skin structure next week, where you'll be learning about the layers of skin. And from there, we're going to our core subjects about treatment room, client consultation, which should be very, very important, the client consultation. You should love that. Okay. And from there, basic facials, diseases related to facials and things of that nature. So we're moving straight ahead. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Back on bed rest. I think I gotta go somewhere Sunday. So I want to be healthy enough to do that. But we are doing our paperwork and reports in the bed. So hopefully my admin will be over soon so we can get the final report done. We want it out of here by the close of business today. And so